Hello there, and welcome to our Fits for Success podcast designed to help entrepreneurs and executives generate the energy and stamina they need to perform at a high level and grow their careers with confidence. Today's podcast is for you if you are a speaker or an entrepreneur who has hit a stage of burnout or anxiety and know that it is time to start putting your wellness ahead of your business so you continue to create solid results with your career. This is also for you if you want some top tips from a #1 best-selling author and speaker on how to keep your body energized and on point for all of your speaking gigs. My name is Kristen Nolan. I'm a high-performance health expert and speaker for busy professional women and men. And today I'm interviewing TR Garland, who's a Wall Street Award winner, a #1 best-selling author, and expert on helping emerging speakers and entrepreneurs to get booked on big stages. TR, I want to welcome you to our show. I know you're an extremely busy man, and I'm very excited to have you here today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to having this friendly conversation with you so that your listening audience can get some valuable information on how they can better get from their point A to their point B.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for that. Can you start out by telling our audience a little more about the work that you're currently doing to help solopreneurs get booked on big stages?
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. It actually all started many, many years ago. I myself went through this cycle, and this cycle was I was in college and I could not wait to get into corporate America. I couldn't wait to get a job. I couldn't wait to dress up as a suit and tie, and I was kind of emulating my father. So I started off my professional career in my 20s in sales, and I was ranked very, very high, very, very quickly. I was an ambitious little soul. By the time I was 23, I was ranked #3 out of a national sales force. And by the time I was 27, I was ranked #9 out of an international sales force.
Amazing.
And get this, by the time I was 30, I was burned out.
Yes.
I was tired of working for the man. I was tired of being surrounded by people that didn't share my values and virtues. And that was the last time that I technically worked for someone. So I pivoted into an industry, real estate, that I felt I could control a little bit more and be in charge of my own reputation, manage things. And I felt I was very, very successful, but I felt like those people that didn't share the same values and virtues as myself, having grown up in the Midwest, that they were following me. So I had an internal conflict going on, trying to looking around, realize, is this going to be in every industry? Are there going to be good people and bad people? Is it going to be this challenging for me to be as excited to wake up every morning and perform my role for my job, for my company, or being an entrepreneur? And so I know that this was a path to get to the answer that you asked with regards to the question, but it was at that point. I've always been involved in personal and professional development. Personal development both for the mind and the body, and professional development. And I'm always going to learn quicker, faster, and I'm going to be more thirsty than everybody else. So I then pivoted into what I consider the personal and professional development industry because I felt like I could be a good mentor. I could be a good mentor and shave off some of the mistakes that I made in my 20s and 30s and help them get to their sweet spot quicker. So I have been in what I consider the speaker, author, coach space for 10 years. And I began working behind the scenes for people like Brian Tracy, Laurel Langmeyer. I'm the former executive vice president of Michael E. Gerber Companies during the 25th anniversary of the book, The E-Myth, which is the entrepreneur myth. The E-Myth stands for the entrepreneur myth. And after that, the Think and Grow Rich brand asked me to help them with the 75th anniversary of Think and Grow Rich. And here's where my story comes full circle and really helps you and your audience understand where I'm at today. I took a year off after 5 years of working in high pressure, high level, high income roles in this industry. It was when my daughter, Abigail, was in kindergarten. And I felt like I needed to create a positive relationship with my daughter so that she could grow up making a positive footprint in this world. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I was rewarded by taking the time off to commit to her by getting clarity. And that clarity was when I came back, I'm using my experience from the 6, 7, and 8-figure environments, and I'm serving emerging speakers, authors, coaches, service-based professionals.
Wow, I love that. And it's amazing. I mean, the people that you've worked with, first of all, we all know them as emerging entrepreneurs and speakers. I mean, these are the names that we truly look up to. So I want to commend you for working with such a fantastic group of people. It must have been beyond inspiring for you. And, I have to imagine that with a schedule like yours, I mean, helping emerging entrepreneurs is no small task. And I know that most entrepreneurs or anyone who has a schedule like yours feels like it is impossible to put themselves first and truly take care of themselves. But I also have to imagine that for you, setting an amazing example for the entrepreneurs that you're working with has to be, of top priority. So give us the rundown, TR. How do you manage to keep your body healthy and energized so that you can be a great role model for your entrepreneur clients, and also it sounds like your daughter as well?
Great question. Thank you so much. And a lot of people overlook this fact that you and I both know, which is outward, right? To the outward world, someone may look and appear as though they're successful. However, on the inside, emotionally, mentally, and just in their gut, they may be in a very, very bad place. Mm-hmm. A lot of entrepreneurs get caught, being ambitious, being successful, and then they neglect their foundation for success. Mm-hmm. And their foundation for success is their emotional and physical well-being.
Yep.
And I myself, the reason why I explained my story from when I was shortly out of college is because I wanted to share with your audience that although I am very successful today and I have a business that is lifestyle friendly for myself and my family, it wasn't always this way. I mean, I am very, very transparent, letting everybody know that because I was so driven in my 20s, because I was so driven to achieve certain levels of success that I put in my mind were my goals, that I actually developed severe panic and anxiety disorder about 28 years old.
Wow.
From 28 years old, it lasted with me for 6 years, 6 horrible, horrifying years.
Right.
And it was because of 2 specific things that I'd like to bring up right now, if that's okay, Kristen.
Yeah, do it.
So the 2 things that I identified were main causes to my anxiety and panic attacks were, number 1, it was self-inflicted, and the other was environment-inflicted. And the self-inflicted piece was that I was into bodybuilding in my 20s because I was in sales, I was young, I was single, I was, living in downtown Chicago, and I had expendable income. So I myself invested my time every evening, right, exercising, which is something I'm sure that you clearly speak about in order to develop this energy as an entrepreneur. Well, what was happening was I was taking a stack of aspirin, caffeine, and ephedrine every night before I would work out.
Oh, God.
And for those of you that don't know the combination, it's really a legal form of speed. But at the time, it wasn't presented as that in the muscle magazines that I was reading. And so I was doing this for about a year and a half, maybe even 2 years every night at like 8 p.m. before I would go to the gym. And
Wow.
what happened is that it caused my brain to stop developing serotonin, which manages stress levels.
Mm-hmm.
So we won't get too detailed into it, but I just want to point out that I made a mistake by not being educated on the supplements that I was taking.
Right.
And it caused some internal mismanagement of my systems, right?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, no, I think that's huge, TR, because I know a lot of people, when they're looking to make strength gains or looking to lean out, you know, it's really simple to turn to supplements, especially because you see them listed on the first, 100,000 pages of Google if you're Googling how to lose weight or how to get fit or men's fitness and women's fitness and whatnot. So it's really easy to come up with these combinations, right, to help us get faster results. But I'm always telling people, you know, your body's not an app. You know, you can't download fitness into your body in like a quick supplement, basically. So everything has its ramifications. And yeah, it sounds like that was a major contributor for you. So
yeah, that was only one piece. That was only one piece.
Wow.
If I may, let me kind of close the loop here. The other piece was that I myself put so much pressure on myself year after year of achieving goals as to what the outside world perceived as success, that it was compounding. It was compounding the stress levels. And those two together caused me to, you know, develop have my first panic attack. And then I didn't understand for a time period how to manage them. So I did need to go on to medication, which actually I firmly recommend against these days. Medication does not go to the root cause and help you clarify it. It masks and just covers up and helps you manage the symptoms. But once I understood why it was occurring, both what I said with what I was taking into my body and how I was treating myself mentally by being so hard on myself, as many of your listeners can understand, right? Keep in mind, I'm well aware and Kristen's well aware this story is not about me. It's about how you are listening to us having this conversation and probably nodding your head, right? For me, that extra pressure, that lack of taking care of my inside and outside, it turned out to be the outcome was panic and anxiety disorder. This may be the case for some of you today, but for some of you, the result may end up being arguments with your spouse or partner. It may be not enough personal time. It may be not enough time to commit to spending with your family, you know, your son's ball game or your daughter's, you know, gymnastics team, you know, events and things like that. I'm simply stating that as an example of where I am today, I was glad to come on and be a guest expert so that I could share my experience so that it would serve just one person. If it serves just one person to not go through the pain that I've gone through with my escalated ambitions as an entrepreneur, then I think that I at least served well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. So I think it's really interesting that you were able to identify, you know, the root cause of what was going on, because a lot of people don't. You know, they'll just continue to push through for years and, you know, get on medication, but not really take a step back to understand what truly caused these things to come about. So tell me, how did you start to develop that understanding for yourself about, you know, the workouts and the supplements you were taking and the pressure that you were putting onto yourself as being a true, you know, root cause of the anxiety you were experiencing?
It was because I did go into this Western medical system, right? I went to my doctor, and initially after sharing with them, you know, what I call it the stack, you know, that I was taking that caffeine and stuff, you know, they're taken aback. Well, you tell a bodybuilder that, you know, bodybuilders push the limits with their bodies and they risk things, and many have suffered as a result of it. I believe that I'm blessed that I didn't go beyond what I thought was harmless, into something else to help me achieve performance differently.
Mm-hmm.
So that piece was pointed out to me by the medical establishment.
Right.
The other piece of coming to grips with the compounded stress, that took some time. I'll be quite honest with you and everybody else out there. I found my first major stride towards understanding why I got this and how I could overcome it. I actually invested in a TV ad that was on at like midnight or 1:30 in the morning. That was it was a kit. It was a kit that came with CDs and exercise books about how to overcome anxiety.
Wow.
Honestly, the woman's name is Lucinda Bassett, and she actually created an info product and became an entrepreneur herself based on her experience. And I honestly attribute my turnaround to being up late at like 1:30 in the morning and seeing an infomercial and investing like $600 or $700 or $900 in this kit that was like a 3-month-long self-study program that helped me turn a corner.
Oh, that's amazing. So it really took that extra bit of coaching, essentially, to point out the things that were going on to make you feel this anxiety. I think that's great that you got the help that you needed. You know what I want to know is when you were feeling this way, TR, because I think that still a lot of entrepreneurs, they have exactly what you're referring to. They get anxiety, they get panic attacks, they feel overly stressed, but they don't know how to ground themselves. And or they just don't take the time to actually learn the root causes. And I want to know from you, how do you feel that this affected your ability to show up as a leader? Like what was the final straw for you? Like when were you saying to yourself, you know what, I really feel like I need to get some help with this?
Without going down a completely different rabbit hole, I will share that as a result of my ambition as an entrepreneur and feeling like I needed to do it all myself and having that weight on my shoulders, I also from typing every day and always working on my computer, I also developed repetitive stress disorder, of which I thought was carpal tunnel syndrome.
Okay.
And it got so painful that I literally had to hold a baseball in my hand in order to kind of type and move my mouse. And it was at that point that I needed to hire someone to sit in my chair, and I literally would tell this assistant where to type, where to go in order to keep my business going so I could take care of my family and take care of my employees. But my health was just dramatically, going downhill. So I was a grown man. I mean, self-admittedly, absolutely crying for a variety of different reasons, for more than just, a one crying bout, right? This was monthly, trying to figure out, I'm caught in this cycle. I'm successful as a business owner. I've got plenty of business coming in. I can't handle it. And my lesson for everybody is I'm a recovering perfectionist. Yeah. And my lesson for everybody is that as entrepreneurs, you believe and that you need to do it all yourself. And it's when you finally make that leap towards leaning on a mentor that has either experienced what you're experienced and gotten to where they want to get, or that has experienced working with people just like you, where you're at and where you want to be. To me, that's the only solution. It really is. Entrepreneurs are so engulfed in their minds as to what the reality is of their world. They're not listening to logical end games. And the logical end game is that you must lean on and leverage other people in your business network in order to truly balance your personal and professional lives.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't think I think maybe in the first month that I owned a business, I didn't have a mentor. That was it. And I learned my lesson during that first month. I will never have a business without having a mentor. It is so important for somebody who's, my friend Liz always says, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. Somebody needs to hold up that mirror for you so you can actually, right? So you can actually see what's happening in reality. So tell me this, and I mean, I know that you do this for other people. How do you really bring the subject of self-care? I mean, with all your experience, I love, it's beautiful and painful that you went through all these things. And my heart seriously goes out to you. But how do you bring to your clients' attention the gravity of this situation? And how do you really show them that them being able to perform at their highest level and really put themselves first can make all the difference in the world in their success as a mentor?
This might be an interesting way that I answer this that you might not have expected, but I really do believe that this is how I do bring to my clients and community's attention this importance, and that is finally look inside your heart, your soul, your spirituality, and truly connect with what I call your core connection, which is what lessons has life taught you that uniquely qualify you and only you to offer your gift to the marketplace. Many people call this authenticity. And if your audience is taking notes right now, I would say grab your pen and paper and write this down right now. That authenticity is the new authenticity is the new audacity. Right? I believe it's bold to try to not be who everybody expects you to be. That if you look on the inside and finally realize, hey, I learned these lessons for this reason so that I could mentor people in this way or teach people or offer this product and service to this type of community and effortlessly be myself, then that's what's living. That is what living is about, which is just being able to show up and be you with all its beautiful imperfections, and to attract your ideal audience that respects you for being you.
Right, because you're not appearing as if you have something to hide all the time.
Correct. I myself in my business allow myself to simply comment and wear my personality and beliefs on my sleeves because that messaging turns into my marketing. And my marketing has trigger words and trigger phrases that are designed to pre-qualify and disqualify the right and wrong people.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I love that approach too. So really focusing on being authentically you as a form of self-care and even marketing yourself in your business is what you're saying.
Absolutely. That's why I said it was going to be a slightly different approach to that. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've got a health and wellness regimen. I myself, being a recovering perfectionist, I knew for years, I probably knew for 8 years that I needed to meditate, before I even looked into meditation. But my mind was always racing. So I'm someone that has a challenge just turning off my thoughts in my mind. And so I found that there was guided meditation.
Yes.
So I myself have been using guided meditation with my Bose speakers. It's called binaural beats, right?
Binaural beats,
guided meditation. I've been using that easily for 15 years.
Yeah, I love the binaural beats. I was doing that this morning. Yeah, you know what? It's interesting. I find that when I do have days where I can shut my brain down a little bit more, I'll listen to, music and meditate and try to just focus on one thing. But for the days where I do feel a little bit scattered, I'll always go for a guided meditation because it's so much easier for me to focus on the story of the words that the person is saying rather than just music where my brain will go all over the place and race.
Yeah. So that's one amazing. Foundational piece is definitely, that for me is the guided meditation. If I may, can I actually share some healthy supplements that I take every morning?
Sure. Go for it.
Yeah, because you asked kind of like what my routine was. How do I convey how I have the energy, the sanity, and the clarity to show up as the best version of me every day for my community? Well, as everybody can see, they probably saw Kristen and they'll see me, right? My greens. I myself, start off my day, with a gluten-free piece of bread and some almond butter and some goji berries. That's the way that I start off my day, and then I follow it up, with my green drink. But the supplements that I take to help me manage this overwhelm and I have no affiliation whatsoever, I just feel like this would be beneficial. There's a product here, it's by Future Biotics. I believe that's Future Biotics, called Stress Assist. That I actually have done the research on, and its core ingredient is suntheanine. And L-theanine is an amino acid in our body already. Kristen, do you teach your community about suntheanine, the value of utilizing it?
No, I actually teach my community the value of amino acids, especially ones that are not prevalent in muscle meat. So, incorporating things like gelatin protein powders, collagen, into shakes. So I talk about it as a spectrum, not just one specific amino acid.
Yeah, this right here, L-theanine, right? Suntheanine is L-theanine. This is what I take daily to help me, manage stress and become clear. And I've done my research on it. I encourage everybody to do their own research. But in essence, what it does is it has certain compounds in it that help promote your body relieving itself of stress, as well as providing clarity. There's no caffeine-ish anything involved in it. And I just thought it would be appropriate to at least mention for those of you that have connected with my story about stress, anxiety, and panic.
Got it. Well, thanks for sharing that. I want to just jump topics really quick here, TR, because I know that we have a lot of speakers that are going to be listening to this podcast. And I know that you're constantly speaking on big stages. So tell us this, what is your preparation like 2 to 3 hours before you get on a stage?
Well, it's great that you asked this question after I just answered that other one, because remarkably so, it is a combination, right? There are a few things that I do the day of that are different than my normal routine, but I myself have been blessed to design my platform to be a lifestyle-friendly platform. And what I mean by that is I created a strategy to where if I have a speaking gig, in the last 2.5 years, I've been blessed to have my family travel with me to my speaking gigs.
Oh, amazing.
And my daughter is 8 years old, and she actually herself has been on 3 stages in the last 12 months in front of over 300 people. And I want to help her develop that self-confidence and self-esteem. So being there with my family is one foundational piece to allow me to show up as the best version of me.
I love it.
So I realize not everybody can do that, but I'm just simply sharing that when you design your lifestyle-friendly platform according to your definition of what lifestyle-friendly is, you can accomplish it. I want to share with people, the possibilities.
Right, and this is what you help entrepreneurs do, right?
Correct. So let's get practical. I really do bring my gluten-free bread and my packets of almond butter and goji berries with me when I travel. I do honestly start off every day with that, and then I might follow up with, and I bring some, gluten-free oatmeal as well, and then I do drink my greens and my shakes prior to that. Got it. But other than that, other than the obvious health side of things, definitely do not, eat the pizza in the airports. No matter how hungry you are 2 days prior to you speaking, because Kristen, you and I both know that the cheese and the dairy, it causes phlegm buildup in your throat, so you won't convey yourself. You won't be able to speak as strongly.
Well, for some people do great on dairy. I eat a ton of dairy personally, but you're right. I mean, I think the important message is to know your body and know what makes
Sure.
you inflamed, right? Because if you're eating a
Sure.
bunch of things that are going to bloat you up and cause phlegm, you really do have to know solidly what those foods are for you. Otherwise, otherwise, once you get up on that stage, it's like you're constantly trying to clear your throat, and it's really uncomfortable, not only for you, but for the audience.
Sure, absolutely. They don't hear your real authentic voice that, mirrors what you feel inside when
Yeah.
when you're congested.
Absolutely. 100%.
Other,
So go
uh,
ahead.
I simply wanted to just wrap up my answer to this question, which is, when I go back there in the green room, prior to getting on stage, because just 2 weeks ago I was in front of 500 people in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
And it was the largest audience that I've spoken in front of in many years. I've been in front of 800 people before, and it's much different speaking in front of 8 people versus 800 people.
Sure.
It is. So I do start off my day with my meditation, my guided meditation, my gluten-free, my eating and things like that. But right before the event itself, I actually make sure that, everybody, like the night before an event or while everybody's on break, I will make sure that I go up on stage and look out into the audience and know my environment. Know the environment so that you're not caught off guard. And I have been known with the sound check guy even working in the background the night before, 11 p.m. at night, I will deliver my entire presentation to the chairs just so I've proven to myself that, hey, listen, I've been on this stage before and I just did it and it came out smoothly.
Right. I love that. I'm a big practicer myself, actually. So, it sounds like you ground yourself and you keep your body energized and are able to think and speak clearly with the foods that you eat. And then you get to know your environment and give yourself that reassurance that, hey, I've done this before. I'm going to rock this stage. And it just helps to bring that confidence level up so you're really able to deliver your presentation without, second guessing yourself.
Absolutely. You nailed it on the head, which is know your environment. Beyond delivering that practice right from the stage, there are some mentors that have taught me in the past to actually go down in the audience and walk the aisles themselves and touch those chairs that so energetically that you've marked that as, hey, this is my environment. I'm going to kick ass. I'm going to rock and roll when it's my turn to serve and support.
Right. You really just develop that connection ahead of time.
Yeah, I do believe in it that there is energy out there, and so not only the practical and tactical, which is practice, but I go above and beyond, and I want to feel the energy of that room prior to people coming in there, so I know that I can perform to the best of my ability. Because the number one thing that every speaker should have on their mind is make the host look good.
Bingo, mic drop.
It is. If you make it about yourself, then it's going to be possibly incongruent with the host and with the audience. But if you take care of yourself, like you pointed out, the health side of things, the mental side of things, the preparation side of things, you will show up as the best version of yourself. Not only will you look good, but you'll make the host of the event look good, and you'll get invited to more events.
I love that. Yeah, so that was amazing information on how you get yourself mentally and physically prepared. And, one thing that I do want to point out to our audience is how you mentioned, and you mentioned this really briefly early on, but I do think it's a huge point. You really do have to change up your strategy a little bit for when you're on the road versus when you're at home and in your familiar environment. And I think that's a really big deal because, a lot of people think, oh, if I just do this, then, I'll be able to do it everywhere. But that's not necessarily the case. And it sounds to me like you've put a tremendous amount of thought in to, what you need to pack to make sure that you are eating right. The things that you need to do while you're on the road, like get your family there, have time with them, making sure that you actually stand up on a stage, ground yourself, walk into the audience, feel the energy. So there are all these little things that you do to make sure that you're showing up and performing at your highest level. And I think that a lot of people don't take all those things into account, before they're, when they're traveling for work or when they're going to speak on big stages. So I really love that you do that.
Absolutely. I mean, you and I both alluded to at the very beginning of this interview that you asked this question of, well, why did you pivot from working, in the 7 and 8 figure environments, to working with people, entrepreneurs and speakers, that just want to break that 6-figure mark? Well, I became congruent with that, and I had these lessons, that I wanted to teach so that they could accomplish that. But you got to keep in mind that my main vocabulary that I use when I am looking to attract, people to move forward with me as their mentor is, hey, listen, passion alone is not enough. Passion alone is not enough. You must plug into a proven system, a step-by-step system that makes it easy for you to follow on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. And the reality is that it really is not that much effort to build your speaking business if you lean on someone that points out the high-value tasks versus the low-value tasks. You may not be successful in your speaking business or using speaking to build your, own small business today because you're making a lot of assumptions that, oh yeah, I just got to show up and I just got to deliver this speech. And the reality is that the business side of this business is burning good people out, or worse yet, it's bankrupting them.
Right.
And so I wanted to, forgive me, I just wanted to draw attention to what you pointed out, which was you were talking about the business side of the business, right? That's what Kristen was sharing with each and every one of you, which is, listen, if you treat it like a hobby or treat it like you already know what to do, you're going to continue to get the same results that you've always gotten. But if you treat it like a business, which is why Kristen pulled me on this call so that we can serve and support you and give you pointers, then and only then can you pivot and turn a corner and finally achieve your wildest dreams.
I love that. And so tell us a little bit more about that, TR. How do you help entrepreneurs really up-level the way that they're thinking of their speaking business and, not only get on big stages, but also be profitable in the process?
Sure. Well, I know that we've got a limited amount of time, so I'm not quite sure what direction you want me to go, but what I can share is that everybody is in the visibility business. We really are in the visibility business because we live in a society in which we're getting bombarded with all sorts of marketing messages. And so I myself have a 3-step success sequence that I teach all of my community members that they should always have top of mind on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis, that if they practice this 3-step success sequence, they will, in a much shorter period of time, find the success that they deserve. And those 3 steps are be visible, be vocal, and be valuable.
The 3
I'll
Vs.
repeat myself. Yeah, exactly. Step number 1 is be visible. Step number 2 is be vocal. And step number 3 is be valuable. Now, be visible means people know who you are.
Right.
Being vocal means that people know what you do. And being valuable means that people know that you care. And if you're always conscious of these 3 steps, be visible, be vocal, be valuable, and you implement this into your day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month activities, I personally believe that many of your listeners will turn a corner and finally, get closer to the milestones that they set years ago.
Yeah, no, those are really powerful. And I love the sequence that you put the structure into, all three of them are exactly what you need to get yourself out there at a powerful level. TR, can you tell our audience a little bit more about, so sorry, can you tell our audience a little bit more about how they can reach out and learn more about you?
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. I am someone who firmly believes that if you go out there and identify individuals in your marketplace, in your region of the world, in your niche, that can help you accomplish your business goals, that is the easiest way for you to truly achieve those goals. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in massive internet marketing. I don't believe in direct mail. I don't believe in salesy, cheesy type stuff. I personally believe, as you've heard me say, that being authentic, right, is the best plan. But right. You also heard me say passion alone is not enough. So when you marry your authenticity, or when you finally come to grips with your core connection, then you start to create a network that can help you accomplish your business goals. And I call this network your ideal advocates. Your ideal advocates. And I have many people that I've contributed to their success first and educated as to what I need to achieve my success. And they might not come back to me for 3, 6, 9 months, but a year later, because I taught them who I was, what my mission was, they remembered me. Mm-hmm. And so I myself personally believe that people need to ask themselves, am I money driven or am I mission driven? If you're money driven, you're always going to stay in that hamster wheel of trying to find a new prospect or a new referral partner or a new JV partner. But if you're mission driven and people know that, then they will be compelled to assist you.
So true.
So my recommendation for connecting with me is simply just go to my LinkedIn profile. Go to my LinkedIn profile, just search for TR Garland and just take a peek at, who I am, what I do, and see if it resonates with you. And if we should enter into a friendly dialogue, then shoot me a message through LinkedIn. One thing that wasn't stressed today was how specifically I assist speakers, authors, coaches, and entrepreneurs in finally getting more prospects, partners, and platforms. And with your permission, Kristen, I simply want to point out that I believe that the most underutilized platform out there for all entrepreneurs is LinkedIn. So I happen to teach a program called Leveraging LinkedIn. And I teach entrepreneurs how to use their free LinkedIn profiles to get more partners, platforms, prospects, partners, platforms, publicity, and positioning.
You have a lot of these acronyms. Lots of P's, lots of V's. It's good.
That's how people remember things. I
know, I love it.
Let's be honest. We wanted to connect with your community. So we started the first half or first 3 quarters of this interview allowing people to realize that I'm a real person and that you're a real person. I was transparent and I shared with them I experienced severe panic and anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, I overcame it. And here's how I overcame it. And what I want to do is, end this interview with just practical and tactical next steps that your listeners can take so that they can finally turn a corner and achieve their goals according to their own definitions. So I do encourage them, reach out, connect with me. I have a wealth of knowledge in how to use your free LinkedIn profile, to get more prospects, partners, and platforms.
I love it. Yeah, I know. And I can attest, first of all, your LinkedIn profile looks amazing because I've been there. And I know that I've actually heard a little rumor about how incredible your LinkedIn services are. So yeah, if you are somebody in our audience who's looking to get out there, get known, definitely make sure that you get to TR Garland's LinkedIn profile ASAP. Well, TR, I want to thank you so much for being on this interview and sharing the person that you truly are and the struggles that you've been through to allow, entrepreneurs and speakers to connect with you more personally, and also giving them amazing tips on how they can get out there in a big way. So thank you so much for your time and being here.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. It's my privilege. It's my honor to be asked in the first place. And if what I said, resonated with any one of your listeners, then I encourage your listeners to react by going to my LinkedIn profile. And, I've got some complimentary resources. If you like what you see at my LinkedIn profile, shoot me a message and say, hey, TR, can you send me a free special report? And I'd be happy to do so as a referral from Kristen.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much for that. Super generous of you. All right, everybody, it's time for us to say sayonara. So we will see you on our next episode of Fit for Success. Thank you so much for being here and for listening. Bye.